I love this topic so much. It's been so wonderful just to be in this I am consciousness all week long. And so basically the invitation, I begin with the invitation. I always like to have an invitation with my talk, and I end with the invitation, but I'm beginning with the invitation, which is this entire bask in the I amness. The I amness that is everything and through and as everything. Just being with the idea of it, it's amazing how much it just continues to open and open and open, and suddenly there's just joy everywhere we look and feel and taste and touch, and it's just been so wonderful as I've been with it, and I know you will all have that amazing week this week as you're with the I am that I am. So first, let's talk about what the I am. Do we have a symbol up there? Oh, there is, I am love. So that's the symbol. I want to work with the symbol. Do we have a big symbol, or that's just that's the symbol there? Okay, so we're going to work with our beautiful Science of Mind symbol. It's also over there. Okay, sorry for those of you who are listening, we're just looking at a circle. That's the main part today, is the circle, because the I am is the circle. Next week, we're going to be talking about the creative process, which is everything happening inside the circle. So we have, next week is the creative process. The following week, we're going to talk about 3 bodies. And the fourth week, we're going to talk about morals and the I am. Confucius was primarily about ethics and morals. And we don't talk about that much, but that's contained in a lot of religions. So the question is what's the connection between morals and ethics and this I am presence? The I am presence is everything. The I am presence is the source of all life. In Hinduism, it's the Brahma. In Buddhism, it's the ground of all being. We call it the traditional Western name. Christian name is God, Jehovah, Allah. The thing itself in Science of Mind. The isness of all life. These are all names that the Tao, we're going to do Taoism next month, which is another name for the way. All of these are names for this ground of all being, this ever-present isness that is always there. It's unchanging. It doesn't come. It doesn't go. It's not birth, doesn't birth, and it doesn't die. It's ever-present. So it's right here in this room. It's everything that we are. And not only is it everything that we are, it is everything that all life is. And not just life on the earth. It's the galaxies, the Milky Way galaxy, the billions and trillions in galaxies. It's the multidimensional aspects of all life. It's everything, and then it's beyond everything. One of the images that I like to use for the I am is the movie screen, the white movie screen. Everything's happening on the movie screen, the stories. So on a movie screen, you can focus in on the minutest detail. There's documentaries where they go into the microscopic, what's happening at the level of atoms and molecules. And then you can watch beautiful life stories, generations, and we watch films and stories of people's lives. We can watch on the screen, on this beautiful white screen, about the galaxies, everything that's happening, and we're discovering in the astronomy, out in the stars, the galaxies and billions of galaxies. Like even our Milky Way galaxy is so small when we look at it. So we can see that all on the screen. And what we now, they can 3-dimensional. What is that? Is that 3D? Yeah, movies that are in 3D. It's also all the different dimensions that we're discovering. They talk about string theory, all these parallel universes with multi-dimensions of time and space. We can talk about subtle bodies, energy worlds full made of just energy. All of that's happening on the screen, but the screen itself never changes. The screen is just there. The I am presence is there. Everything unfolds in it and returns unto it, but it's constant and steady. That is the true nature of who and what we are. The truest sense of who we are is that white screen, the I amness. Why is this going out? Thank you. So the microphone might go in and out, but the I am has not changed. And that's the glory of it, that the more we start identifying and recognizing that that's our true nature, we start to find a freedom beyond anything we can imagine. Now, one of the things I also want to talk about as we're talking about universal truth principles is prayer. For those of you who have not learned, we in Centers for Spiritual Living have a form of prayer that we call affirmative prayer treatment. Some people don't like the word treatment. You'll hear some people just refer to it as treatment or spiritual mind treatment. There's many different forms. The essence of it is it's affirmative. We are claiming what we already know to be true. So rather than asking for something. We are actually standing in the knowingness of that which is. So the essence is we're standing in the I am. We're recognizing it. So there became, Ernest Holmes, who is the founder of Centers for Spiritual Living, didn't actually delineate 5 steps, but over time, these 5 stages of the affirmative prayer is what we teach to help clarify when we're praying this flow of energy to align ourselves with the flow of the creative process. We will go into all of that next week, creative process. Today, we're just going to focus on the very first step of what we do when we pray, and that's the recognition stage. We begin all prayer recognizing this I am presence. We start with the truth that there's only one power, one presence. So anytime you hear a practitioner get up here and pray, or they pray for you after service, or they pray for you on the phone, or if you meet with them, all the prayers that we do in classes, it always begins with some recognition. There's one power, one presence. There's infinite presence. Is in, through, and as all creation. It's starting with describing that beautiful circle. Because that circle is everything. It contains everything. And that's where we want to start, is with this presence that is birthless and deathless, that nothing needs to be fixed. The white screen is perfect. You don't need to fix anything on it. There's nothing wrong with it. There's no story that's happening. It is itself whole, perfect, and complete. It is always all beauty. It is all grace. It is love. It is joy. It is peace. And it's alive. That's the other thing we want to know, that this white screen, the problem with using that as a metaphor is because the screen can seem like a dead object, but it's not. The I am presence is livingness. And that, in fact, the more we can connect with it, the more alive we feel. I've shared the story before. I really like Father Maximus, before he was a father, went to these monks on Mount Athos because he felt called to be a monk. And it's his first night there, and all these monks are standing in the dark, and they're chanting, and he's just like, oh my gosh, I've just entered the world of the dead. He's thinking this in his head, like, what have I done? And as he's thinking this, a monk from behind him comes up and says, no, the world out there is more dead. In here, you're experiencing the full aliveness. The monk knew what he was thinking in his head. How did he even know that? Because the walls were dissolving of separation. There wasn't him thinking that and the monk over there. There's only one thing. And the quieter and quieter we get, the more alive we become. That's the wonderful paradox. We become more alive the more we let go and allow the aliveness of the I am to fulfill and move through and as us. When we get, as Waldo Emerson liked to say, get our bloated nothingness out of the way, to allow the I am pour through us. So, of course, this has to be where prayer begins, right? We begin. Now, I want to clarify something because it can be a little confusing the way I'm talking about it. So I'm talking about that circle and describing it. We have language, and language can come at things from different perspectives. There's 3 perspectives of the way to talk about this circle. I call it the 3 faces of God. I get it from Ken Wilber, philosopher Ken Wilber. The third face, second face, and first face. We'll talk about the second face next week. The third face is talking about it as an object. God is, or Brahma is, or the thing itself is, and we start describing it. It is infinite, it is birthless, it is deathless. All these things that I've been saying, that is third person. It's me describing. I'm using language to describe what the divine is. First person, I am, is describing the exact same thing, but the recognition that because there's only one, it is the I am. So we could describe this allness of everything as I am. So I can describe that circle as the I am, the great I am. We see this again in all religions. Not just, I was reading Ramana Maharshi, who is a Hindu guru, and he loves the I am. And he said Moses had it exactly right, or the burning bush had it exactly right. And that if all we do is just say I am over and over, that's all we do in our life is just say I am, it's shifting our whole reality, and everything in the universe is converging to shift our awakening, to serve us in our awakening. This I am presence, that's the cornerstone of everything. The I amness, there's no other. The idea is that there's nothing else. There's no object. I am the object. There's no separation. There's no duality. There's no me and you. There's only I am. So we're speaking today of this vast infinite presence called the I Am. I make that distinction because one of the greatest challenges that we have in New Thought, I believe, because it gets confusing with language, is that we sometimes confuse our ego, our body-mind identity. When we say I am, we think it's my body-mind identity. That's I am. Our body-mind identity is an expression of the I am, but it is not the infinite nature of the I am. So we need to be aware in ourselves when we say I am, that myself, Harriet, can speak I am, but also recognize I am as Harriet has borders, and I want to be free of that. Ramana Maharshi used to say the I, to free ourselves or to hold that divine paradox of the infinite I and the small I together as one. I think imagery helps. So if we look at this white screen, and we think, so just speaking for myself, I'm a character on the screen. We're all characters, right? Every one of you is a character on that screen. Everything happening on this planet is a character on that screen. One of the things that we say when we pray is, let's turn within, don't we? And then we close our eyes and we turn within. Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within. There's a lot of within. It's Buddhism, Hinduism. You're turning a lot of within, a lot of meditation. We're turning within. In Hinduism, you're learning a lot about the chakras, and you're connecting with your different chakras in your body. Oh, let's connect with the heart chakra. Let's look at the third eye chakra. It's the root chakra. So we start confusing the idea that within my body, mind is the kingdom of heaven. That's not quite right. So again, looking at the character on the screen, in order to tune into our I am self, closes our eyes not to find the I amness inside our body. The I amness is not inside our body. The I amness is the white screen that sources our body. So what we're doing when we're closing our eyes is we're shutting our senses down. Because what happens if I am a character in this story, I keep my eyes open, I'm still seeing the story. My eyes are, whether I'm trying to pray and connect with the I am, the infinite I am of my nature, which has no form. So it's very hard to focus on. So as I'm praying and trying to focus on this I am, my eyes are taking in all the sensory input. My ears are taking in sensory input. So the idea of turning within, that symbology is about shutting down the senses, so we turn away from the story, we turn away from the environment, we turn away from the conditions, and we connect with the truth of our who and what we are as this I am being that has no form. As we heard in the reading today, there is no form to the I am. There's nothing we can hold on to, which is why it's so hard to connect with it, because we have all these wonderful things to pay attention to out here. And not just through our five senses, emotionally. We may have a story that's going on in our head. We may have things that we're still thinking about from yesterday. We might have things that are happening, even what we're thinking about right now, that are just totally engaging. So how do I connect with this I am, which is behind all these layers? And that's the point of prayer. Prayer uses words and language to point us in the direction of the I am. The words are the fingers pointing at the moon. The words are pointing to the white screen. They're not the white screen. The white screen transcends words. But the words get us there. So we close our eyes. This is why we do this. Every spiritual tradition has this. We're closing our eyes, not because everything is the divine, but we're looking at the form. To turn our attention away from all form, to shut our senses down, and we use words in prayer to start recognizing what is real. To remind ourselves, so our mind doesn't go off. Our mind can go off and start thinking, oh, I have to do this tomorrow, or this person's really bugging me, or I'm really hurting about this. And we have everything to distract us from this perfection of the I am. Does that make sense? Are you with me here? All right, so we got the I am. So think when you're praying and you're turning within, you are a person on that movie screen, opening yourself up to the vastness of the infinite white screen. You're opening yourself up to the vastness of pure being that includes all life, all dimensions of time and space, all the galaxies upon galaxies upon galaxies that our mind can barely conceive. And that's what we're tuning ourselves into when we pray. The words are pointing to the thing itself. That is who we are. I mean, who we are is that vastness. There's no walls. You know, just a little slight interesting fact. Did you know Freud never used the word id or ego? I learned that recently. The person who translated felt it made him more scientific because he was trying hard to be accepted into the scientific medical community. The words he used were it and the I. The id was it. So anything we objectified and we said is out there is the it. And what Freud was trying to say is our health, our mental health, happens when we start reintegrating all those things we project out there. All those things that we consider as other, separate, and apart. And it's usually the things we don't like. Sometimes it's things that we like and it's just too good for us. Oh, they're having so much joy in their life, I could never have that. We can do that with good stuff too, but we generally do it with bad stuff. We repress it. So we talk about spiritual bypass. That means we're pretending we don't have these negative things. And what happens is when we pretend we don't have them, they're still there, but we'll just see them in other people. And we'll get really charged up about that other person who's so controlling, that other person who just won't let things go, or that other person who's really harsh, or that other things that we don't, there's things in ourselves that we so much don't like, and I'll get triggered by it in somebody else, and it's out there. It's their stuff. Look at them. They're so, ugh. You know, there's, right? I don't even have to say the words. It's because we haven't owned it. That's an it in psychology. So there's a sentence that Freud said, when we start doing our work, the healthier we get is when we start owning that back. No, I can be controlling. No, I can be mean. I can be harsh. All of those things are existing within me when I stop making it separate from myself, because myself is the I am. If I am the I am, I'm going to have to start reintegrating all of this stuff in me. The healthier we become, and he says, where the it was, there shall I become. Isn't that beautiful? It's very different than where the it is, there the ego shall be. Where the it was, there shall I become. Where the it was once projected out there, where that otherness was projected out there, when I do my work, there I shall become. And that's our journey, is learning that we are everything. We are everything that's happening. I remember when I first started working in the psychiatric hospital, I would come home crying every day. The density of the hospital, the pain that was there, and we had all sorts of, we had the whole range of psychiatric disorders, diagnosis. But I knew I was hired by pure spirit to be there. I was very clear that spirit, the divine, the I am, was my boss, and that's what I was there to serve. So I kept being with the I am presence, the God presence everywhere, and I started to recognize what was bothering me the most, why that density was overwhelming me so much, is because I was afraid I was them. They were separate. They were in a hospital as patients. I was there to serve them. They were the ones with the mental disorders. I was the healthy one. And my biggest fear was that I was them, that I was mental, and I didn't want to be them. And I thought, no, I'm them. When I started reintegrating and realizing I am one with the divine presence of pure spirit, I am that I am, and the I am is just as much in the patients, the people I'm serving, as it is in me, that wall started to drop. That meant every psychosis, every challenge, diagnosis that was there, I had to integrate and say, that's a part of this I am personality. It's not maybe part of the body-mind personality called Harriet in that particular moment, but it is part of the I am essence, and I was connecting with, I was there to serve God. I was there to serve the I am. And if I'm going to identify with the I am, I have to identify with all of me as the I am. I don't get to pick and choose and say I'm only connected with the I am with the people that I like or are comfortable or the whoever I want to be like. I am connected with everybody. So we did have people who were, well, we had one person who was an actual psychopath, sociopaths, schizophrenics, bipolar. I had to know my oneness with all of them. And as that started to happen, lightness of being started happening, and I loved doing my work. I loved going to the hospital and connecting, because I was connecting with people with who they really were and who I really was. And those walls were dissolving, and I felt absolutely free. And I didn't really notice it until one of the patients got annoyed with me because they said I was always singing, and I hadn't aware that I was singing, and I just realized, they said, this is a very depressed place. You're supposed to be unhappy when you're here, and it's not okay that you're singing. And I thought, I don't feel unhappy. I love it here, and I wasn't judging anybody. All the judgment comes when we separate. But when I know that I am them and they are me, there was no judgment. I was completely delighted to be in the community of the patients, of the nursing staff, and the doctors, and the technicians, and maintenance, and receptionists. It's all the I am. All these walls that we put up is because we are afraid that those things that we don't want to be part of us. But when we let those walls down and say, I am all of it, the I am of me is all of it, we can know joy in any situation and circumstance. That's the freedom of what this journey is. I am. One last thing. There were some healings that happened as I was working on that I am presence. And I couldn't figure out why they didn't happen a lot, but they happened, and they were extraordinary. And I couldn't figure out for a long time, why was it? I was doing the same thing all of the time. Why was it those moments where those healings happened? And finally I got it. When we are in pain, when we are suffering, we become actually more identified with our body-mind. It carries us down into this incredible density. So there's no opening to the I am. Joel Goldsmith said, the divine, the I am, is everywhere present, but where it goes unrecognized, it's as if it's not there. So I could be doing all this work of the I am and be flowing in it, but often the people I was working with, the majority of people were still so identified with their challenges, it's happening in their brain, there was no opening for the I am, for that awareness to happen. But those times when the miracles happen, when those amazing healings would happen, would be just a miracle of time, where it would be when I was with them, and in that moment, because we had many repeat, they were just tired of their story. They were just done. I've told the story a million times. I've been in therapy. I've done the medication. I'm just tired of the whole story. In that moment, the wall came down. The attachment to their story and to their body-mind identity dropped. I'm practicing the I am presence, a connection would happen, and the miracle of healing would happen immediately, instantaneously. And what that taught me was for myself, when I'm attached to my story, Harriet, my body-mind story, and I keep talking about my story, I'm not opening to the infinite I am. I'm really attached to the character that I'm playing, the role that I'm playing on the movie screen, and I don't allow, there's no space for the I am to work in, through, and as me. So even as I saw that in others, I saw that in myself. I wasn't allowing the I am presence because I was so attached to my story. So when I'm in pain, when I'm really struggling with something, and notice this for yourself, your story's going about your body and mind. It's not just the moment. It's like this whole story that starts to come with it. All the history that you've had since childhood starts to come, and you have all these patterns, and it just feels like this is who I am. They say there's this part in there when we get sad, and when it gets triggered, the word always been like this. That's a body-mind identity, and it's hard for spirit to work through us and have a healing when we're identified with that body-mind identity. So the spiritual journey, the I am, that's what we're here to know. The infinite I am, to know that I am that white screen, but that white screen is alive, and it's dynamic, and it's joyful, and it's peaceful, and it's loving. It's not boring. It just doesn't have form or identity. So that's this journey. So another aspect of this spiritual journey, and we're going to talk about the descension, is ascension and descension. Ascension is about waking up to this infinite I am presence. Descension is about the creative process. They are both the same. They are both equally important. Sometimes when you say ascension, it sounds better than descension. It's all essential. But sometimes in the Western world, we tend to be more interested in descension. We're interested in bringing the creative energy into life and creating form. And we'll get to play with all of that next week. But that's a lot of what the Eastern traditions are bringing us, is the ascension. If anyone who's read Yogananda or a lot of these gurus, turn away from the world, wake up to this magnificent I Am presence. It is vast, it is everything. It is everything. Anything, once you connect. Ramana Maharshi, anyone who came to him with a problem, he wouldn't answer anyone's questions. He'd say, just find out who you are first. Find out who you are first. Find out the I Am, the infinite I Am nature. And I guarantee you, when you find out, really connect with and live from this I Am nature of your being, all those problems and questions that you have are going to dissolve into the nothingness from which it came. Jesus said, seek first the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God, the truth of who you are, and all things shall be added. And they'll be added because you won't need them anymore, because you'll already be everything. You will be everything. It can be considered, I think, of almost as the ultimate goal. Shunryu Suzuki said, nirvana is reaching something to the end, completing something to the end. I was thinking about that because the NBA playoffs are happening now, and there's the big championship. And there was a big moment of my aha life around the NBA championships. It was in the 80s. I lived in Boston. It was the LA Lakers, Boston Celtics matchup year after year. And I became a huge fan of the Lakers. It's probably my rebellious streak to be in Boston and root for the Lakers. I just really liked Magic Johnson. So it's the first time in my life that I really paid attention to basketball. I watched every game leading up to the championship, and I was so into it. I was just, yes, and I would think about it, and I'd get all wired up. I was just, it was like, I knew all the players. I would talk about it with people. And then I know exactly where I was sitting, so it became that final game, and I think the year before the Celtics had won, and it was the final championship game, and the Lakers win, and I'm sitting there, yes, yes, and then it was over, and I'm like, well, now what? I spent all that time, and it made absolutely no difference in my life. And I thought, wow, I just didn't invest a whole lot of time in that. It was just a moment of these goals that we have. I think they're all valuable, finishing something to the end. So if we have a goal, complete it. But ultimately, what I think Shunryu Suzuki was saying as well is that the ultimate goal is full enlightenment. If you notice, when you have a goal and you reach it, you love it. I mean, it does expand us. We like goals because it's pushing us past our body-mind identity. It's pushing us past our limits. So I think we are born to strive for something beyond our body-mind. But the ultimate goal is to move beyond totally our body-mind identity to this infinite I Am identity, because it is everything upon everything. When we are there, we are fulfilled. There are very few people, spiritual masters, that I can think of who said, I've been enlightened. Not that great. I think I'll just go back to my human life and strive to become an NBA basketball player. I don't think that happens, because it's everything. And what they do say all the time is, if any of you really knew how great this was, you would drop everything to become enlightened. The reason why we don't drop everything to become enlightened is because we don't realize how great it is. But it's not as visible as all these other things. All the other goals are visible. They're tangible. Our five senses can hook onto it. They're great stories on the movie screen. They can get us emotionally with the music and when they're crossing the finish line. I love those stories, those sports stories. We watch so many sports movies, and you're just like, yes! And you're so excited. And the music's going, and everyone's clapping and crying. It's so good. It's 10 times better than all of that. But I can't see it. A guru is just sitting there, it's enlightened. There's nothing to see with my visible eyes. And yet, I believe ascension is our highest goal. That is our nirvana. I was thinking about Moses, and when he went up and got his 10 commandments, the Jewish people built a golden calf and had their golden idol. They got in big trouble for that. Let's take out the whole idea of punishment and reward. That's an old idea. But the idea was, put no other gods before me. And so you just start thinking, what are my golden idols? It could be anything. But I was thinking one of our golden idols is our small self. I can make my small self and what my wants and needs are, or the wants and needs of my family, more important than knowing the infinite I am. And what every mystical teacher tells us is that you're never going to get to really know the infinite I am if we are blinded and focused on just what my needs are, small self, or what my friends' needs are. I'm never going to open up to the infinite I am. Never. I can't see it. I'm blind. I have my blinders on. That's what these wonderful teachers are constantly trying to inspire us to do, is to take off the blinders. Not because you're going to get punished. It's not like some external thing is coming to punish you. That doesn't exist. The blinders themselves are the punishment. The blinders themselves are the thing that keep us limited and small and allow for us to sink into those darkness of despair and depression and hopelessness, because we really believe in those blinders. We really believe in the small self, and that's all there is. There's no other possibility than this pattern that I've seen over and over and over. That's it. That's who I am. How many people fight for their limitations? No, I can't be that. That's not who I am. We fight for our limitations. Those become our idols, our golden idols that separate us from the true I am of who we are. Ernest Holmes said, "There is nothing to be healed. There is nothing to be healed, only God to be revealed. Only the I am of us to be revealed. There's nothing to be healed. Nothing is wrong. There's only the I am of us to be revealed, to remember who and what we really are, because that is the Alpha and the Omega of all life." So my invitation to you this week is just to open yourselves up and remember who you really are, the I am that I am, that every conversation that you have with every person is you having a conversation with yourself. The I am having the conversation. Just like when we have a dream, where everything in the dream, we're one person, but everything in the dream, everything that we're experiencing is part of this I am nature. Everything that you hear is happening in the country, own it. It's part of the I am nature. Own it. I am. Everything that's happening in this world, the things that you don't want to hear, I am. I had to know, when I worked with a sociopath is someone who lies all the time to hurt people. A psychopath actually hurts somebody. So there was a Christian unit I was working in a private psychiatric hospital, and there was a Christian unit, and this person was on death row, but he converted to Christianity. So they allowed him to come onto the Christian unit to, I don't know what they wanted from, just have a healing. And it was interesting being with someone who was so disconnected from his I am. Whatever caused it, there was just a coldness, a viciousness, and a violence. There was a coldness to the violence. And yet I always was practicing the I am, not because I thought I could heal him. I didn't think there was going to be an opening, but because I wasn't willing to go into the story. And so when he acted out and he wouldn't own it, he would come to me and tell me everything. He could talk. He felt safe with me, and I felt safe with him. I never worried about him because I kept seeing the I am. In fact, I don't worry that much, because when I worry, I know I'm out of the I am presence. The I am is the source of my life, and the source is always there, even if bad things are happening. It's not that difficult things don't happen, but it's always there, and the more I keep my intention on it, I'm good. We're good. It's when we get afraid, he's that way. He can never be helped. He's totally unconscious. He's a lost cause. You can't change psychopaths and sociopaths. That's what the psychological community says. And I'm not sure if you can or can't on the human level. But that's not my job. My job is to know that I know that I know. That's all of our job, by the way, to know that we know that we know that the source of all life, no matter what is appearing on the surface, no matter what we are seeing, is the I am presence. And our attention needs to be on the I am within ourselves and the I am with them, and know that there is no separation ever with anyone at any time. All life is the I am. Live your life that way for 1 week. I am everything that is happening. The things that I really don't like, maybe things that seem too good for me. people who have incredible lives, and that's just like, their lives are just, they get everything they want, everything works out for them. That's you too. I am everything. Just practice it, and you're going to discover such a lightness of being, such a freedom, such a joy at just being alive, because there's nothing missing and lacking. You are everything now. We are everything right now. So let's pray from that awareness. I'm going to ask our practitioners who live this every day to stand. And they are holding our community in this I amness, these beautiful beings of light who have committed themselves to see the truth of the people who come and go within our community as that great I am. And we come together, that we all have different roles and parts that we play on this movie screen of life. We recognize behind all of these roles, whatever parts we are playing and all the different aspects of the roles that we're playing, behind all of it is this one power and this one presence. One power, one presence. There is no other. There is only one. I am. I am the way and the truth and the light. I am the light that lighteth up all humanity. I am the light that lighteth up this entire universe. I am the light and the way and the truth of these galaxies, of these multidimensional worlds. I am all time and all space, and I am beyond all of it. I am unchanging. I am free and unlimited joy, peace, harmony, grace. I am alive as beauty and harmony. I am bliss. I am bubbling over in every dimension of reality, and I am free of all of it. I do not limit, I do not constrict, and I do not expand. I am. I am invisible to the naked eye. There is no form. I am. I am beyond all ideas and conceptions. I am. I am awake as each and every individual in this room here today. I am awake and aware, knowing that every beautiful, precious atom and cell of my bodies in this room today are being healed even now as they are returning into alignment of the perfection that I am. I know the I am that I am of the emotional life, of relationships. I am the source of all of it. I am the beginning and the ending. I am already healed. Emotionally, physically, financially. All problems are already healed as the I am. All obstacles are already overcome. All of our millions of goals have already been fulfilled as the I am. This I am is everything we can ever possibly imagine and beyond. I am. I am all the relationships that can cause so much emotional turmoil. I am. I am all the friends and family that of the beautiful beings in this room that may be in pain, that may be suffering, may be struggling. I am. We see it and we know it for every being on this planet, for the earth itself that may be suffering. I am. I am this galaxy as shifts are happening even within the Milky Way galaxy. I am. There is nothing to fear. I am. There is nothing to fear. I am. There is no separation ever. I am never anything else other than I am. There's nothing out of place. There's nothing that needs to be fixed. There's nothing that we need to add on to. There's nothing we need to take away. I am. I am is home. I am is the place which we always discover we are home. How grateful I am that we are home. We are home. To God be the glory. In joy and in peace I release this word in, through, and as all that is, and I let it be, and I invite us all to say together, and so it is. Amen.